The husband I bought never listens to me. He refuses to work during the day but works himself to death at night. With my sore and weak waist, I punished him by making him kneel before the bed, using a collar and whip to set the rules. Suddenly, I saw subtitles. Holy cow! A mere butcher girl dares to imprison the crown prince as her male slave, even forcing him to kneel. She's just waiting to be executed after the autumn assizes. So disgusting. The female antagonist humiliates the prince every night and whips the male lead during the day. Just wait till the male lead regains his status. He and the female lead will have her sliced to pieces. Don't worry, darlings. The prince belongs to our beloved female lead. He's just using the female antagonist for practice right now. I curled my lips in a cold smirk. A whip lashed down. The crown prince. Wouldn't that be even more thrilling? Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. MMMPH. He Changqing let out a muffled groan. A vivid red mark instantly appeared on his robust, fair chest. It crisscrossed with the red marks left by grasping and kneading on his shoulders and back. He narrowed his eyes slightly, veins bulging on his neck as he clenched his back teeth. His chest heaved violently, with fine beads of sweat glistening on his skin. The subtitles exploded instantly. The female supporting character is really courting death. Just wait until the male lead tears her to pieces later. This is so heartbreaking. The aloof crown prince remained abstinent his entire life and was the white moonlight for so many people. Yet he's being humiliated like this by the female supporting character. The crown prince's gaze changed completely after being beaten. He must despise the female supporting character to the core. He Changqing lowered his head. His expression was unclear. Hate me? Is that why you were so rough last night? As if you wanted to kill me. My whole body went numb and weak. With resentment, I raised my leg and stepped on his chest. My toes trailed up his chest, brushing past his slender neck and the collar around it, then used the top of my foot to lift his chin. He Changqing had no choice but to raise his face. His face was as fair as jade, with cold, stern brows and eyes. Those dark, deep pupils fixed intently on me. His back was ramrod straight, like a solitary pine under the moonlight. I never liked this unyielding demeanor of his. In the past, I would always go out of my way to torment him even more. I couldn't hold back again today. Deliberately brushed the back of my foot against his handsome face. Hoarsely spoke. Hit you if I want to. You dare to be mad. He Changqing's Adam's apple bobbed. Suddenly, he reached out and grabbed my ankle. His grip was like iron tongs. His palm hot and tight. Startled, I kicked him square in the chest. Who allowed you to touch me? He refused to let go, his slender fingers caressing the delicate, jade-white ankle. He even let out a soft chuckle. Last night, it was you who begged me to touch you. I was so angry that I raised my hand and slapped him. Did I tell you to speak nonsense? Exhausted from the whole night, my hand had no strength. I barely managed to make He Changqing turn his face away. His fair skin slowly showed red marks on his face. He pressed his tongue against the side that was struck, then slowly turned his face. When he saw me, his gaze froze. His muscular chest heaved violently. His face flushed red all the way from his cheeks to the base of his ears. He must have been absolutely furious. I grabbed the chain connected to his collar and pulled him closer. Tilting my chin up, I looked down at him. Have you forgotten how I taught you? His dark eyes were deep and intense, fixed on me, tighter. His Adam's apple bobbed, and after a long while, he gritted his teeth, his voice hoarse. Slave. Thanks, mistress, for the reward. I snorted coldly and patted his face. Just like taming a domesticated foal. That's more like it. After venting this pent-up anger, only then did I feel a slight chill. Looking down, I realized the quilt gathered around my chest had unknowingly come undone. The skin, mottled with red marks, revealed delicate curves. Blood rushed to her cheeks in an instant. Her entire body burned with heat. Clutching her chest, she seethed with shame and anger. He gave He Changqing another slap. Don't look. If you keep looking, I'll gouge out your dog eyes. He Changqing pressed his lips together and remained silent. Only the lowered gleam in his eyes grew sharper. He doesn't speak much. In the past, I couldn't understand his gaze either. Seeing those subtitles, only then did I understand. So, he actually hated me. I'm a female pig butcher. With a swift raise and fall of the knife, life is extinguished. Men from all the surrounding villages keep their distance from me. That day at the market, I saw a slave trader hawking male slaves. A brilliant idea struck me. Since men can buy wives to serve them, why can't I buy a husband to serve me? At that time, He Changqing was covered in blood and had no deed of ownership. His back leaned against the iron cage, a collar around his neck. Eyes closed, lips as pale as his complexion, only the slightly trembling lashes, long and thick. The profile outlined a cold, shattered curve, covered in mud, yet proud as a winter plum in snow. Among a crowd of healthy, strong male slaves with complete documentation, I spotted him at first glance. Fortunately, he was half dead. No one wanted him. Cheap enough. I spent 2 taels of silver to buy him, then gritted my teeth and used my savings to treat his illness. He is tall and big. He never listens when he's recovering from injuries. I never took off the collar around his neck, to make him learn some discipline. Later, his wounds healed, but he became increasingly disobedient. In frustration, I simply locked him up, but he was so strikingly handsome, like the bright moon in the sky, veiled in mist, descending to the mortal world. I had also guessed that his identity was extraordinary. He was aloof and stubborn by nature, a proud spirit that refused to yield, a sour face and few words. He always refers to himself as this prince. I used to joke that he must have been a chicken in his past life, given how much he liked to coo. Little did I know, he was actually the crown prince of the Eastern Palace. I straightened my clothes, setting up a stall in town to sell meat. Those subtitles kept scrolling non-stop. I'm so mad. How dare the female supporting character treat the male lead like this? When is the female lead finally going to appear? Don't worry, sisters. The female supporting character's smugness only lasts until today. The female lead has already come looking. She'll confront the supporting character soon, and the moment she hears about the reward money, she'll immediately reveal the male lead's whereabouts. The foolish and wicked female supporting character got her family confiscated. After finding the imprisoned male lead, the crown prince, she even threw a tantrum in public, clinging to him and refusing to let go, making a huge scene and insisting that His Highness was her husband. A pig-slaughtering woman dreaming of becoming the crown princess. How laughable. The female lead is the male lead's fiancé. Okay. The female supporting character went mad and tried to push the female lead down. But luckily the male lead protected our precious female lead and immediately ordered her to be beaten 50 times, crippling her legs. Talk about doting. She was even collared and forced to crawl and bark like a dog, witnessed by villagers from all around. Serves her right for imprisoning the male lead and treating him like a dog. So satisfying. My heart raced, comforting myself that these cryptic texts shouldn't be taken too seriously. Then I saw a procession of people and horses coming down the street, dressed in fine clothes with luxurious carriages and steeds, finally stopping right in front of my butcher shop. The carriage curtain was lifted, revealing a fair and delicate face, with every feature exuding an air of noble grace. She glanced at me with almond-shaped eyes, scrutinizing me from head to toe. So you're the famous pork beauty of this town. The moment she appeared, the subtitles were scrolling excitedly non-stop. Wow, wow, wow. The female lead baby has finally appeared. Supporting female character. Step back. Step back. Step back. Oh my God. Our dear daughter is so beautiful. I'm about to faint. Soon. Soon, the female lead will find the male lead, and the sweet, sugary romance plot will begin. I didn't say anything. From the subtitles, I already knew her name was Su Wanqing, the eldest daughter of the Prime Minister's household. The little maid beside her shouted at the top of her voice. Hey! Our young lady is asking you a question. Thud. I slammed the cleaver in my hand onto the table, curling my lips into a smile. Miss. Selling meat. Su Wanqing shuddered, covering her lips with a handkerchief. She frowned in disgust. No need. I'm here to ask you some questions. If you answer truthfully, I'll reward you with this. She took off the gold bracelet from her wrist and handed it to me. I heard you bought a male slave before. Is it true? The subtitles are getting intense again. The supporting female character is so stupid. This is clearly the male lead's token of love for the female lead. How could he possibly give it to her? She's so money-grubbing, believing whatever she's told. Hilarious. Exactly. The moment the supporting female character took it home, the male lead found out. Our female lead is just so sharp and clever. Later, she still refused to return it to the female lead, insisting it was a gift. Didn't she end up getting her hand broken before giving it back? Serves her right for trying to steal and ending up worse off. I held the bracelet, gently rubbing it between my fingers. Exquisitely carved. It shimmered with radiant colors. Solid gold. So beautiful. Su Wanqing curled her lips mockingly. Her eyes filled with disdain. A vulgar butcher girl like you has probably never seen such fine things in her life. Has she? I put down the bracelet, sighed, and said faintly, You're right, miss. I did buy a male slave at the market, but he didn't survive 3 days before he died. Su Wanqing's eyes widened, her voice suddenly sharp. What did you say? I returned the gold bracelet to her, my tone regretful. He was badly injured at the time, wasted my 2 taels of silver, and would have been bad luck if he died. So I had to throw him in the mass grave at the back of the mountain. Young lady, you can go there and look. If you can find that slave trader, you must get my 2 taels of silver back for me. Su Wanqing's face turned grim, yet she couldn't say a word. Had to leave in disgrace. Subtitles exploded too. What is she saying? How could she lie? And refusing the gold bracelet. How is the female lead supposed to find the male lead now? Such a vicious supporting female character. She even lied to the female lead, saying the baby's father is dead. Our poor sweet girl must be heartbroken. Woo-woo. Don't worry. Don't worry. The male lead dotes on our female lead baby so much. He definitely can't bear to see her sad. The worse she is now, the harsher the retribution will be later. I packed up the shop. It just felt ridiculous. Why is it that the so-called female lead in their story can deceive me with a gold bracelet for the sake of their so-called love? Yet I can't lie to save my own life. The new clothes ordered for He Changqing half a month ago are ready. The books purchased from out of town by the bookstore owner have also arrived. They were also requested by He Changqing. Returned home. He Changqing was as usual, sitting cross-legged on the soft couch in meditation. The firewood in the yard had already been chopped. The vegetables were prepared and placed on the counter. The water in the pot was almost boiling. He took the book without saying a word. Still quiet and cold. But seeing the new clothes, he frowned. A cold smirk curled the lips. Is it necessary? Why bother dressing up when you'll just have to take it off for punishment tonight? The subtitles erupted in cheers. Ha ha ha. Just proves the male lead only has eyes for our beloved female lead. No matter how much the villainess tries to please him, it's useless. Does the villainess really think giving some gifts will make the male lead like her? He's the crown prince. Who would even glance at such shabby things? It just makes her look poor and tacky. The male lead's sarcastic remarks are so satisfying. Normally he tolerates the villainess out of gentlemanly courtesy, and she actually thought he liked her. I clenched the new dress in my hand. It feels as if tiny needles are pricking my heart. My parents passed away early. Most of the men's clothing in the household is worn and tattered. After healing He Changqing's injuries, money was tight at hand. When she saw this newly arrived moonwhite satin, all she could think was how handsome he would look wearing it. She couldn't resist buying it, completely forgetting that she herself hadn't bought new clothes in years. Though my temper may be somewhat fierce, I've never treated him unfairly. Only when he provoked me beyond endurance would I give him a couple of lashes as discipline. I'm far better than those men in the village who beat their wives daily. Yet he remains as ungrateful as a wolf that can't be tamed. At first, he couldn't do any work and was even afraid of pigs. When asked to serve tea or water, he did so reluctantly. Having him attend to my bathing and dressing was like asking for his life. With a cold expression and tightly pursed lips, only his ears turned red with anger. Looking utterly humiliated, always talking back to me, could never be warmed up. The whiplashes on him didn't seem to hurt at all. Admit the mistake verbally, but repeat it next time. No matter how you teach, it never improves. Seeing those subtitles, only then did I understand why it was so. My heart felt both sour and swollen. There was even a slight ache in my chest. Suddenly everything felt utterly meaningless. I didn't want him anymore. I threw the new clothes in my hand onto the ground. My voice icy. Fine. Then don't ever wear them again. I slammed the door shut. I took out the red deed from the butcher shop from the top of the cabinet. During the day, I had already approached several shopkeepers. I wanted to sell off the shop. All those cryptic prophecies in the subtitles came true one by one. People were already searching for He Chongqing on the streets. If you don't want to end up like that, you must leave. I took out paper and pen and spread them on the table. During the day, I went to ask the bookstore owner, according to the laws of the current dynasty, if a couple wishes to separate, they must have a letter of divorce. He Chongqing is a man who values reputation above all else. To prevent him from stubbornly clinging on out of pedantry, I plan to write a letter of divorce first. I don't know how to write it. My handwriting isn't good either. Ink drips onto the paper. I don't even know what to write. The door was knocked twice. He Chongqing pushed the door open and entered. His tone indifferent. Eat first. I didn't look up. At first, he couldn't even start a fire to cook. Fortunately, he learned quickly. If not for those subtitles, perhaps I really thought he had some genuine affection. Seeing me unmoved, he walked behind me, his long arms stretched out, resting on the table. What to write? Seeing the crooked character, release, on the paper, he chuckled softly. Ugly. I grew even more annoyed. Who asked you to interfere? He Chongqing remained silent, his chest suddenly pressing against my back. His slender fingers enveloped my hand, writing together, stroke by stroke, writing down the character, release. Neat and beautiful. My back grew warm. Only then did I realize he was actually bare-chested, not wearing any clothes. Instantly, my face burned hot, and I instinctively scolded him. He Chongqing, who gave you permission to not wear clothes right now? He Chongqing scoffed. Wasn't it you who told me not to wear it? I was momentarily speechless, my mind in turmoil, fuming with anger at him. Yet he remained completely unaware of his mistake. Breath brushed against my ear. What else do you want to write? I suppressed my emotions, thought for a moment, and said, your name. After all, his name also needs to be written on the divorce letter. He Chongqing's breath hitched. His arm encircled my waist, pulling me entirely into his embrace. Guiding my hand, he wrote his name stroke by stroke. He Chongqing. Then wrote another. Yi Xiaoman is my name. He glanced at the red deed beside him. In the dim yellow lamplight, his voice was warm and moist. Aw man, do you know how to write a marriage certificate? I froze. Then he saw the subtitles scrolling enthusiastically. What the hell? Why is the male lead teaching the female supporting character how to write like this? And even trying to draft a marriage certificate? Relax. The male lead has been abstinent for so many years and single until now. He's just practicing and having some fun. Otherwise, how could he start a sweet romance with the female lead later? You get the hang of things with practice. The marriage certificate he's writing now doesn't count anyway. How could the crown prince possibly marry a butcher's daughter? Hilarious. But once he's practiced, he'll be a pro when it's time to write one with the female lead. Not just the marriage certificate, but also the nighttime bang bang bang. The male lead is just using the female supporting character to get a taste and practice. Otherwise, if he's not skilled enough, what if he hurts our precious female lead? Exactly. The male lead demands so fiercely from the supporting female character every night. Doesn't that just show he doesn't take her seriously at all? A butcher's daughter. Disposable after use. Why would he cherish her? He'd never treat the female lead like that. With her, it's all sweetness and pampering, even though I've already decided to leave. Seeing this still makes my heart suddenly ache. I bite my lip, barely holding back the burning tears in my eyes. Taste it. Practice a bit. Then I'll just take it as it is. Anyway, looking at His Highness the Crown Prince's figure and appearance, it's not a loss at all. I took a deep breath. My voice icy. I refused to write. Just having some fun. Did you really think a male slave like you could become my husband? The arm around my waist suddenly tightened. Veins bulging. A sharp pain shot through my neck. He Changqing was acting up again. He even dared to bite me. I let out a low moan, struggling to reach for the whip, but he pulled me by the waist, pressing me deeper and harder into his embrace. His eyes darkened with a shadowy intensity, the thin lips that nibbled at my earlobe curling into a cold, mocking curve. His voice was low and hoarse, dripping with dangerous undertones. Gritting his teeth, he slowly, deliberately pressed with venomous insistence. Don't want me? Then who else does my wife intend to choose as her husband? He's very strong. I really regret letting him eat so much. He stretched all my clothes loose. I struggled to break free from him. A heavy slap landed on his face. None of your business. I kept him well hidden. He's never been outside. Unaware of my reputation across the villages. I got so angry that I blurted out without thinking. There are plenty of people who like me. If I wanted, I could take in 3, 4, 5, or 6 young men, having them serve me in different ways every day. You're just a male servant. You have nothing to offer. A terrible temper, poor skills, and you never listen at night. I'd never choose you as a husband. A red mark appeared on He Changqing's face. He narrowed his eyes at me, veins throbbing at his temples. His jaw clenched tight. Then what if I have everything? My heart skipped a beat. Did he really think he could pressure me with his status as the crown prince? The subtitles also scrolled. Ugh. Disgusting. The female supporting character really knows how to flatter herself. Everyone knows she's the most notorious shrew in the entire region. What man would want her? Let the female supporting character act up. Just wait until the male lead regains his identity. See how His Highness the Crown Prince deals with her. If it weren't for the male lead remembering the female supporting character's kindness in saving him, he would probably tear her apart right now. I forcefully suppressed my flustered emotions and deliberately snorted coldly. I said no means no. Don't you dare pester me again in the future. Su Wanqing never came looking for me again. But the number of people coming and going on the streets to gather information had increased. I seized the time to sell off the shop. 3 days later, after handing over the deed, I would leave. Returning home, I carefully cleaned each of my knives and stored them in a wooden box. The clothes are all old. We can just buy new ones later. He Changqing leaned against the doorframe. Why are you suddenly tidying these up? I carefully wiped the boning knife in my hand without looking up. Take a few days off. After that day's argument, I didn't feel like talking to him much anymore. On the contrary, it was He Changqing, who was usually quiet, that kept hovering around me. He looked like he had something to say but hesitated to speak. He changed into that new moonwhite robe. His features were as exquisite as a painting, his black hair cascading like a waterfall. Indeed, to make a man handsome, nothing suits better than morning white. The plain attire only accentuated his noble and transcendent aura, making him appear even more aloof and ethereal. Beautiful as she was, she carried an ethereal aura, untouched by worldly dust, unaware of mortal hearts. I had lost all mood for admiration. I only found her in the way. Yet He Changqing seemed bewitched. always following behind me. When I practice with my sword in the courtyard, he tends to the flowers and plants nearby. When I fold clothes inside the house, he stands by the desk, brush in hand, composing poetry. His white robes sway with each movement, his demeanor elegant and refined. Sick. The last day, after clearing out the butcher shop, I went home early. Before even entering, the sound of conversation could be heard from inside the door. Your Highness, Miss Su has already been found. What should we do with the pig-slaughtering woman? He Changqing's voice was neither warm nor cold. Keep Su Wanqing steady. As for the rest, I will handle it thoroughly myself. No one else is to interfere. My heart turned cold. Then I heard the subordinate continue speaking. That butcher woman has already sold her shop to someone else these past few days. After humiliating your Highness like that, I'm afraid she might have fled to escape punishment. He Changqing remained silent for a moment before letting out a scornful laugh. It's just a few days of temper tantrums. I'm still here. She wouldn't dare leave. The subtitles also chimed in. Exactly. The female supporting character would cling to the crown prince for life if she could. No way she'd leave. Oh no. She seems to have heard. Now that she knows the male lead is the crown prince, she'll definitely cling to him even more. How disgusting. Ah. When will the female lead finally reunite with the male lead? It's all because of that vicious supporting female character. When will their sweet romance finally begin? I stood outside the door, clutching the divorce letter I had just written. I really don't know. Where on earth do they get all that confidence from? I wandered around town all day. By the time I got home, the moon was already hanging from the treetops. He Changqing was actually still waiting to have dinner with me. I sat down at the dining table. He even froze for a moment. I had been ignoring him these past few days. Dinner was also eaten absent-mindedly. After all, it was the last day. Might as well taste His Highness the Crown Prince's cooking one last time. He Changqing wordlessly pushed a plate of stir-fried pork with peppers in front of me. I took a bite and commented, "Not bad. Much better than before." He Changqing's eyes lit up. He then pushed another dish of stir-fried bamboo shoots a little closer. I tasted each dish on the table one by one. They were already perfect in color, aroma, and flavor. To have the privilege of tasting dishes personally cooked by His Highness the Crown Prince, there's likely no one else in the world who could claim such an honor. At night, He Changqing sat on the bedding at the foot of the bed. Since that day of argument, I haven't let him sleep in the bed. He could only sleep on the floor. Tonight, he surprisingly spoke first. "Yi Xiaoman, after all these days, shouldn't you have calmed down by now? The moonlight flows like water." He gazes up at me with serene eyes and a captivating expression. I recall what those subtitles said. Just for fun, or for practice. I bite my lip and look at him. In that case, why can't I have some fun? It's just the last night anyway. A rare gem like His Highness the Crown Prince would be hard to find even with a lantern in the future. Might as well enjoy it while I can. I stepped onto his shoulder with my foot and commanded, "Kneel." He Changqing knelt without hesitation. There was none of his usual reluctance. More like, "Can't wait." I lift his chin with my foot. The tip of my foot glides over his neck. It pauses at his Adam's apple, gently teasing, "Take off all your clothes." The Adam's apple beneath the toe shifted. He Changqing looked at me. Slender fingers leisurely undid the moon-white new garment. Inch by inch, the graceful curve of collarbones, the robust and full chest, and the well-defined abs were revealed. For some reason, my mouth felt dry, and I sensed a growing warmth. He Changqing laughed, his tone teasing. Didn't the mistress give me clothes precisely to command me to take them off? I glared at him, just about to look for my little horsewhip. Reaching out to feel, I realized it had somehow been placed right beside my hand. Strange. I remember clearly I didn't leave it on the bed before. I couldn't help but glance suspiciously at He Changqing. He wore a faint, ambiguous smile. "Wife, aren't you going to discipline your servant today?" I gave him a light kick. "Not too hard or too soft. Mind your own business about the master's affairs. The tip of my foot trailed down from his collarbone, slowly gliding over the collar, sweeping across his chest, and finally stepping on his lower abdomen. 8-pack abs. Very beautiful. He let out a muffled groan, his lower abdomen tensing. Pale skin faintly revealed raised veins beneath. As I pressed and rubbed with just the right amount of pressure, Changqing's chest heaved more and more intensely, suddenly seizing my unruly ankle, holding it tightly, with dark, heavy-lidded eyes. His voice was hoarse and magnetic. "Mistress, does this servant need to come up and serve you? I haven't had enough fun yet." Absent-mindedly moving my toes down a bit. "I haven't given you permission to get on the bed." Changqing suddenly leaned forward, his other arm wrapping around my waist. His face came extremely close, staring at me with burning intensity. "Then please, my wife, come down and accompany me yourself." He dragged me off the bed and locked me tightly in his embrace. Screams and scoldings were all swallowed by his scorching lips and tongue. Early the next morning, I held my waist as I slowly woke up from the soft couch. Changqing's seductive skills have improved quite a bit. It had only been a few days since I last paid attention to him, yet he acted like a mad dog, running wild. No matter how much you call, they just won't listen. No amount of whipping could correct it, rolling from the floor onto the bed, with such force that the bed collapsed. Then holding me, we rolled onto the couch. Comfortable, indeed. It's just too much. After waking up, I was still a bit dazed. My eyes blankly stared at those subtitles. "The male lead is getting better and better." Drools. "The only value of the female supporting character is to be a training partner. Can't imagine how happy the female lead baby will be in the future, hee. Am I the only one who finds this oddly satisfying? Seriously, no one thinks the male lead deliberately left the whip on the bed. He's probably been dying to be tamed by the female supporting character all along. And then she was pushed to the point of losing focus in her eyes. Suddenly, I think I understand why she wanted to tame him. Help. Once you accept this interpretation, it kinda makes sense. The male lead held back for just a few days and got so excited he broke the bed. Isn't this some kind of Yandere ghost man? Or maybe he's just the chosen masochist saint. Honestly, I'm sold. What the hell? Person above. How can you scavenge and eat any kind of trash? Get lost. Beggar. Exactly. Cultists. Scram. The female lead is the official pairing. Okay. Changqing's arm wrapped around from behind. "The bed's broken. I'll pay for it. On any other day, I'd feel sorry for the bed. And for my own sore, exhausted self after his rough treatment. I must grab Changqing and give him a proper scolding. But never mind today. Since we're leaving anyway." I responded casually, seeing that I wasn't scolding him. Changqing. After a moment of hesitation, they bit my ear, their voice soft and laughing. "All right. Then I'll pick a sturdy one." I didn't say anything. Got up, dressed, and went out. As always, after handing the red deed to the shopkeeper who took over the store, I boarded the carriage with my butcher's knife. I left this small town that was about to be turned upside down. A mix of emotions churned in his heart. Yet he didn't turn back again. He didn't want to make his wife angry. Changqing had sent his shadow guards early in the morning to buy a bed sturdy enough. The new bed arrived quickly. Big enough. Sturdy enough. Changqing knew that this way, it couldn't be hidden anymore. He didn't want to hide it anymore. But after waiting for a long time, she still hadn't returned. Worried that something might have happened to her, Changqing sent out his secret guards to search for her. It wasn't until late at night that the secret guard finally arrived. The voice hesitated. "Your Highness." The shopkeeper we interrogated said that after she handed over the property deed, she took the money and her luggage and left. She must have left the town. But we don't know which direction she went. Changqing's breath hitched as he struggled to suppress his emotions. Did she tell anyone when she would return? The hidden guard's throat tightened, and he shakily handed over a letter. No. She left a letter with the innkeeper to be given to whoever came looking for her. He Changqing took the letter. On the envelope were written 3 large, bold characters: divorce letter. The shadow guard's head lowered even further, as if wishing to vanish on the spot. He Changqing expressionlessly opened the letter. Divorce letter. He Changqing. For lying. Violates the 7 grounds for divorce. Be naughty by day. Fierce by night. Just for fun. Don't take it seriously. This book ends the marriage. We part ways amicably. You take your broad road. I'll cross my single plank bridge. Yi Xiaoman. He Changqing couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. This woman, who had just last night bewitched him into a daze, had commanded him to call her mistress wife, 4 months on end, to wash hands and cook soup for her, willingly becoming one who serves with charm, endured many lashes, yet also tasted much sweetness. The whip lashes the body without pain or itch. But now the house is completely empty, and this absurd divorce letter in my hand. But it made his blood boil and his throat taste of iron. The internal injuries had not yet healed. He opened his mouth and abruptly vomited a mouthful of fresh blood. Crimson blood droplets splattered onto the ground. He Changqing's gaze turned icy. The bony knuckles tightened around the collar on the neck. With a crisp sound, it shattered and fell to the ground. Prepare the horses. We're returning to the palace. The south of the Yangtze River is often rainy. I sneaked all the way here. It happened to be during the humid spring season. My mood grew even worse. Almost the day after I left, people started looking for me. Later, a rumor spread among the people. Crown Prince Rongzhao returned to the court, quelling the succession dispute. After ascending the throne as the new emperor, he had been searching for a butcher's daughter who once saved his life. Upon finding her, he rewarded her with 10,000 taels of gold. I only found it ironic. If you truly wanted to thank me with gold and silver treasures, why keep it hidden from me until the end? 10,000 taels of gold. More like they'd rather slice me into 1,000 pieces. Those subtitles clearly thought the same. The supporting female character is so annoying. It's all her fault for not following the plot, causing our precious female lead to miss her chance to reunite with the male lead. And the male lead hasn't even gotten his revenge yet. That's why we have to hold her accountable. Exactly. She's just a stepping stone in the male and female lead's love story. Yet she dares to deviate from the plot. Now our precious female lead still hasn't achieved her happy ending with the male lead. Why hasn't she just disappeared already? Enough already. Do you have to be so misogynistic? The supporting female character isn't even causing trouble and has left the male lead on her own. What more do you want? When you think about it, the supporting female character didn't really do anything wrong. To her, the male lead was just a slave she bought. And she even saved his life. If the male lead had any conscience, he should repay her with money. The only mistake the supporting female character made was probably being born a woman. The male lead already has plot armor. Why would he need her to save him? She clearly just tainted him, and he probably hates her guts. And now she wants money. If she's found, she'll be waiting to be sliced to pieces. A woman setting up a stall as a butcher was too conspicuous. I took on the alias Amon, and found a job handling procurement for a tavern. With the sharp eye I'd honed from years of running a stall, I naturally thrived like a fish in water. In my free time, if the restaurant gets too busy, I'll lend a hand. Sister Amon, could you please take this dish to the private room on the 2nd floor? I carried the dish into the private room. The conversation inside suddenly fell silent. A moment. A light scoff was heard. The drunken immortal pavilion has really fallen on hard times, letting just any stray cat or dog come in to serve. I looked up and came face to face with someone I hadn't seen in a long time. Su Wanqing. She came with her maid and several guards. Her gaze at me seemed laced with venom. I lowered my eyes, unwilling to stir trouble. If the lady is displeased, there are still attendants in the house waiting to serve. I turned to leave, but 2 guards blocked the door. Su Wanqing spoke softly. Wait. Did I say you could leave? Can't even serve properly. Come here and serve the dishes. I had no choice but to pick up the long chopsticks and start serving the dishes one by one. The maid beside her was rolling up her sleeves to pour tea, with a sly look in his eyes. He deliberately tilted his hand askew. The scalding tea immediately splashed toward me. Though I dodged quickly, I was still splashed quite a bit. The chopsticks in my hand were also scalded and fell to the ground. Ouch! Seeing me in pain, Su Wanqing actually laughed. Can't even handle such a small task. Tell me, shouldn't you be punished? Her maids and guards naturally responded in unison. Su Wanqing raised her hand and poured the dishes from the table onto my skirt. The dinner plate shattered on the floor. Pointing at the scattered fragments, she spoke with a triumphant tone. Then kneel and accept your punishment. The subtitles that had just been excited to see her were now arguing fiercely. Damn. Is this really the female lead? She's even more vicious than the supporting female character. I'm out. It's all the supporting female character's fault for not following the plot properly. Otherwise, our precious female lead wouldn't have acted this way. It's entirely the supporting character's fault. And this punishment is light. I'm just saying. You female lead fans are so brainless and lack any moral compass. One fan like you does more harm than 10 haters. I'm officially switching sides now. Haha. No matter how much you haters jump around, it's useless. The male lead is already on his way to back up our precious female lead. Let's see what kind of ending the supporting female character gets then. If the male lead can still love the female lead after seeing how vicious she is, then they truly deserve to be locked together forever. Disgusting. My heart skipped a beat. Is he Chongqing coming? Thinking of those notices posted everywhere searching for me, and the tragic endings mentioned in the bullet comments, I was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. All I wanted was to run. Hurried footsteps sounded outside the door. The door of the private room was suddenly flung open. The man at the doorway was dressed in fine silks, with handsome features. Holding a folding fan, he cut a dashing figure. It was none other than Lu Tingxian, the proprietor of the Drunken Immortal Tower. He said to Su Wanqing with a smile, although my cousin is new here and doesn't understand the rules. Miss Su, was it really necessary to make such a big fuss? His face wore a smile, but his voice was icy. The Lu family has deep roots in the Jiangnan region. Su Wanqing could only watch unwillingly as he took me away. When going downstairs, I noticed my dress was both wet and dirty. Lu Tingxian took off his outer robe and draped it over me. I was just about to whisper my thanks, but my wrist was suddenly grabbed, causing my whole body to sway. Amen. It had been over half a year since we last met. He Chongqing. Now he should be Crown Prince Rongzhao. His grace remains undiminished, but there's a touch of weariness and sorrow between his brows. Clad entirely in black, he exuded a chilling aura of solemnity. Only his deep, cold voice trembled slightly. He tightened his grip on my wrist. His gloomy dark eyes were filled with fervor and loss of control. Aw man, why did you leave that day? And who is he? I let out a low moan. His hand immediately loosened, the corners of his eyes reddening, his voice full of pleading. Aw man, are you still mad at me? I used to keep a lot of things from you, but I won't do that anymore. Even if you think I'm not well behaved enough, I can learn. Please don't leave me. Okay. I was a bit stunned. I don't understand what he's really doing. He clearly came here for Su Wanqing. Why does he have to bother me again? Is it just to deceive me and then punish me harshly? I don't dare to get involved with him anymore. No response. Nor do I look at him. Turning my head, I naturally lean into Lu Tingxuan's embrace. Her voice trembled. Husband, I'm scared. Lu Tingxian quickly understood the situation. His mother and my mother were once close friends from the same hometown. After getting married, I still exchanged letters with my mother. This time when I came to Jiangnan, Madame Lu took great care of me. She even wanted to arrange a marriage between Lu Tingxian and me, but knowing the gap in our social statuses, I declined. After that, we addressed each other as cousins. But Rongzhao certainly didn't know. Lu Tingxian pulled me into his embrace, glaring at Rongzhao. My wife is timid. Sir, please refrain from laying hands on another man's wife. Rong Zhao was stunned, his face deathly pale. For a moment, his expression twisted. His dark eyes grew even more somber, fixed intently on us. When? Who gave you permission to marry? Lu Tingxian wrapped his arm around my waist as we walked away. This matter between husband and wife is none of your concern, is it? Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Rong Zhao could not pursue the matter further. Standing alone, rigidly rooted to the spot, in the clenched fist, beads of blood dripped down the knuckles. The gaze fixed on my retreating figure was unfathomably dark. Lu Tingxian accompanied me all the way back to my residence. I thanked him, but he just smiled, waved his hand, and left. Only those subtitles kept flashing. Why does the male lead seem serious? Wait, wasn't he supposed to be aloof? How did he turn into a Yandere ghost the moment he saw the female supporting character? The vibe is way too intense. LMAO. The male lead's reaction to the female supporting character calling someone else husband really doesn't seem like acting. Male lead. How can my wife have another dog? Are you all so annoying? Cult scum get lost. The male lead is clearly here to see our precious female lead. Yeah, whatever. It's already a complete mess. Might as well drink it while it's hot. That supporting female character is so despicable. Pretending to be a couple with someone else just to escape. Does she really think she can make the male lead jealous? She'll just get captured and face even worse retaliation. I had no heart to continue watching. Dozed off in a daze. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by a series of trivial noises. Just as I was about to turn over, a cold pull suddenly came from my wrist. The crisp sound of metal clashing reached my ears. I opened my eyes only to find a golden shackle clamped around my wrist. I panicked and struggled frantically. From the darkness came a low, muffled groan. Are you awake? On. Only then did I see clearly. Rong Zhao was actually by my bedside, kneeling, and the long chain was connected to the collar around his neck, glistening with a golden sheen in the darkness. I was stunned. What are you doing? Rong Zhao raised his slender neck. He took my hand and guided it to touch the cold golden collar. Doesn't my wife want to discipline this servant? I jerked my hand back as if scalded. Are you crazy? That was all in the past. Now you're... Rong Zhao smiled meaningfully. So you knew after all. Since when? I pressed my lips together without answering. He turned his head again on his own, burying his cheek into my palm. Seemingly docile. Yet his gaze fixed on me was unfathomably deep. His gentle voice carried a hint of danger as he asked unhurriedly. That day, I was going to tell you everything. But why did you leave? Aw man. Is it fun to mess with me? You already have me. Who allowed you to find another husband? The feeling was all too familiar, and I couldn't help but slap him. None of your business. I've already told you. I don't want you as my husband. I scoffed. Now that I'm already married to someone else. What does this make you? Your Majesty. Rong Zhao's eyes suddenly turned fierce. He disobediently propped himself up on the edge of the bed, closing in on me. Why him? Is he better than me? More obedient than me? I stubbornly retorted. Of course better than you. He answered resolutely. You're lying. If he served you well, why would you sleep separately from him? Before, you always had me serve you every night. Someone who can't please you in service, even if married, is just a nominal wife in name, even if I have no title. Since you sleep with me every night, then the one who's not favored is the extra one. I was so startled by him that my face turned red. I couldn't help but scold him. Who allowed you to talk such nonsense? Are you itching for another spanking? Yet he shoved something into my hand. I touched it. This familiar texture. It was actually the little riding crop I used to discipline him before. You. Rong Zhao's slender fingers hooked open the collar of his robe. With practiced movements, he began to undress. His bright eyes gazed at me. Go ahead and hit me. It's been so long. You must be out of practice. Right. I was stunned. The subtitles exploded too. No. Male lead. Is this right? So all that previous training and humiliation actually turned him on. Don't understand. But utterly shocked. All right. All right. So everything was just the master's tasks and rewards. Ha. I give up. He really is the chosen masochist saint. Female supporting character. Stop rewarding him already. Started shipping the male lead and the supporting female character halfway through. It was so satisfying. Absolutely addictive. The male lead kneeling and handing over the whip was way too eager. And the way he kept calling her mistress got smoother with each word. Also, who the heck imprisons someone by chaining themselves with a collar? I'm dying of laughter. Folks. I was at a loss. Yet, I couldn't forget the lingering bitterness weighing on my heart. But didn't you have a marriage arrangement with Su Wanqing before? You even went to see her today. She came looking for you before. And you told your subordinates to keep her calm while dealing with me first. Ron Zhao fell silent for a moment. Is that why you left? He let out an angry laugh. The corners of his eyes tinged red. His voice full of grievance. Yi Xiaoman. Is this why you abandoned me and have been avoiding me for so long? You already know who I am. So why don't you know that as soon as I ascended the throne, I stripped the Su family of their power and annulled the marriage arrangement. They planted spies around me. I was afraid you'd be targeted. Which is why I deliberately said those things. Su Wanqing tried to push for the marriage by conspiring with the Su family to plot against me. So I had her banished from the capital. Today I didn't come to see her, but to find you. I widened my eyes to look at him. How did you know? Ron Zhao pursed his lips. I searched through all the letters in your home and investigated every person your family had contact with. Originally, I didn't hold much hope this time. But fortunately, I came. In fact, I've already found out that you never actually married that Lu fellow. You've been lying to me all along. The Crown Prince's gaze changed completely after being beaten. He must despise the female supporting character to the core. At some point, Ron Zhao had already climbed onto the bed. He held me tightly, burying his head in the crook of my shoulder, tilting his face to look at me. The dark clouds outside the window dispersed, and the bright moonlight spilled into the room. Under the soft glow of the moon, his profile was strikingly beautiful, with the appearance of a celestial being fallen to earth, yet behaving like a seductive enchantress. Ah man, since you've brought me home, you must take responsibility for me. With me, there can be no one else. I am your only husband. I know you've always thought I'm not well behaved, but from now on, I'll be obedient. My wife. A heart long silent began to beat again. I no longer paid attention to those subtitles. Looking at his face, the palpitations in my heart have long overwhelmed everything else. Yi Xiaoman, this is the husband you bought back yourself. The Emperor. Wouldn't that be even more thrilling? You only live once. And to die under the peony is to be a romantic ghost. My heart surges with unprecedented passion. I pretended to be reserved and snorted, commanding him. Then you must behave from now on. The end.